Hello, everyone. This is Mike at Hendershots. I want to talk to you a little bit today about handgun purchases. If you come into Hendershots to purchase a handgun, one of the first questions we're going to ask you is, what is your application? What do you want it for? Most people these days are buying handguns for defensive purposes. They want to have a gun around the house. So I'm going to ask you, okay, do you want a gun for the bedstand? Do you want a gun to keep in the house, or do you want a gun to carry on your person? Do you have a carry permit? Because a carry gun and a bedstand gun are probably two different guns, okay? And we talk about calibers, okay? My recommendation to everyone is if you're going to carry a gun, carry the biggest gun you can with the most ammunition. And my reasoning for that is simply because no one has ever left a gunfight and said, you know what, I had too much ammo. Doesn't happen. So we know that trained police officers can miss as many as 80% of their shots in the firefight. That's a high failure rate. So as a civilian with some training, not highly skilled, not a great shot, speaking of myself personally, I know I'm going to miss a lot of shots, so I want more shots. And when I say that I carry the biggest gun possible, I don't necessarily mean the biggest caliber. I mean the biggest gun, because a larger frame gun typically has more capacity, which is what I'm interested in. Then we get into calibers. I typically will spend a lot of time talking about 9mm. It's personally my favorite caliber. It's ubiquitous. It's readily available. And for centerfire handgun ammo, it's the cheapest available, so comparatively speaking. So it's a good caliber, and lots of good hollow point bullets available for defensive ammunition. There are some folks, they tend to be older folks, that are stuck on the 45 ACP, which is a great cartridge, great caliber. Is it better than 9mm? Well, that's a circular argument. I will say this: one of the reasons I like the 9mm is because the recoil is easily manageable. I've trained a lot of people in NRA basic pistol and different courses here at Hendershots, wear and carry, Maryland HQL classes, and I can tell you that 99% of the people out there can adequately handle the recoil on a 9mm cartridge. Okay, 45 is a little bit more powerful cartridge. It's 230 grain bullet typically, as opposed to 115 grain 9mm. So you're getting more recoil, more felt recoil. If you're shooting a light gun like a polymer frame gun, I have a Springfield XDM. I love that gun, but it's a fairly lightweight gun, so the recoil is substantial. I can't get my shots on target, my follow-up shots on target as quickly with that 45 as I can with my 9mm pistols. Okay, and you have to, when you hear people talk about stopping power, you should just tune out what they say right there, because stopping power means nothing. It's not a scientific term. It's just something that people have made up. And I'm going to show you a slide here real quick. So when you look at this slide, you see some ballistic gelatin. Okay, now this is the best data we have available, the best science we have available on the ballistics and performance of cartridges, bullets. Okay, so it's 2 or 3 layers of fabric and a solid block of ballistic gelatin. So the FBI standard is, give or take, you can penetrate all 3 layers of a bullet, can penetrate all 3 layers of fabric and penetrate at least 18 to 21 inches in the ballistic gelatin. If it does that, it's adequate for home defense or personal defense use. So you can see on these blocks here that everything, there's no measurements there, but everything there is penetrated 18 to 21 inches through the fabric, so we're good there. So these blocks aren't labeled. Could you tell me which ones are 9? There's one 357 SIG in there. There's a 40 cal and a 45. So by looking just at the wound channels here on these ballistic gelatin blocks, can you tell me which is which? You can't. Okay, there's somebody put them up there for you. There you go. So 9mm, 124 grain, 9mm, 147 grain, 357 SIG, 125 grain, 40 caliber, 165 grain, and 45 caliber, 230 grain. So you can see those bullets all perform very closely. They're very similar in ballistic gelatin. Okay, sure, the 45 makes a bigger hole. It's a larger bullet in diameter. That is correct, but it's also moving much more slowly. So the formula for energy, when you're trying to calculate the energy that a projectile has, the velocity is squared. So that's important. So velocity is important, and the 9mm is moving much more quickly than the 45. So the point is that those calibers are adequate. I would even add some of the 380 cartridges, 38 specials with the right bullet, 357 Magnum. There's other handgun cartridges that are going to perform very similarly. Okay, if you get yourself a good, tested, reliable hollow point, those cartridges are all going to be adequate for personal defense. To me, again, it boils down to capacity. How many shots do you have? How many are you going to need? If you knew how many shots you would need going into a fight, then you could plan accordingly, right? It doesn't work that way. Okay, it's always better to have more than you need. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So those are just a few things. Some other things to think about when you're purchasing a handgun. If you're buying something that you're not going to carry, it's going to sit in your safe or your bedstand, okay, obviously secured, then get a bigger gun, okay? If you're buying a smaller gun, that's a carry gun, okay? So a lot of folks will buy, particularly if they're going to carry a firearm in the summertime, they'll buy it like a single stack 9mm. They sacrifice capacity for concealment, okay? If you're not concealing the gun, then don't sacrifice capacity, right? Get yourself a bigger frame, a full-size gun with more capacity so you have more shots. Because think of it this way. If you have a home invasion, if you have people that are breaking into your house, how do you know there's only one perpetrator? What if there are 2 or 3? How many shots is that going to require? Can you do that in 10 shots? Or would you rather have 17, 20, 30, 40? Every once in a while, I have a Canik TP9 SFX. It's chambered 9mm. I love that gun. It comes from the factory with 20-round magazines. Now in Maryland, I had to get it with 10-rounders and then go across the state lines and get the 20-rounders. So when I carry that gun, okay, I don't carry it all the time, but when I do, I have 20 rounds in the magazine in the gun, 1 in the chamber, that's 21, plus I carry 2 extra magazines at 20 each, so I have 61 rounds on me. Well, that's crazy. Why do you need that many? I don't know how many I'm going to need, okay, so hopefully I have more than I'm going to need. 61's a lot. It's not that heavy, and quite frankly, when I have 2 20-rounders on my left hip and the gun loaded on my right hip, it balances out nicely. So those are some things to think about when you're purchasing a handgun. Don't fall for the stopping power myth, because that's exactly what it is. It's a myth. Hollywood lied to you, okay? When you see these shots in the movies and TV shows where people get shot one time and they fall down, that's usually not how it works, not in the real world. So the only place to stop somebody with one shot is right there, right between the eyes. And if you're good enough to make that shot on a 3-dimensional moving target that's probably fighting back, then more power to you. Focus your shots on the center mass, upper center mass if you can. Think of it this way. If you put a shot through someone's heart, okay, they are shot in the heart and their heart's exploded, so they're done. They're going to die, right? There's enough oxygen in their blood, in their bloodstream, they can probably go for another 30 to 60 seconds. So if you're running as hard as you can, how far can you run in 30 to 60 seconds? Probably run quite a ways. Anyone who's a deer hunter knows you can shoot a deer, get a great shot on a deer, and watch it run 100 yards before it dies. So there's some good lessons there. So things to think about when you purchase a handgun. Do your due diligence. There's lots of information on the internet. Do your research. This is an important purchase. You're going to spend some money. So understand what you're buying. Check around. Just learn the products, because there are lots of things out there, lots of things to learn. Be an educated consumer. And, best of luck. And for your next handgun purchase, make sure you stop and see us here at Hendershots. We'd be happy to help you. We have competitively priced handguns. We probably have 150 handguns in stock, so come on and see us. Thank you for watching.